I never expected a simple message on a quiet Thursday afternoon to completely shake up my world. "Hey, come over for dinner this weekend. Ison and I really want to catch up." It was from Maya, my old college roommate. We hadn't spoken much over the years, just the occasional birthday message or a quick comment on social media, but there was something about her message that felt deliberate, almost urgent. I looked at him for a moment before answering. "Sure. What time?" That Saturday I drove to her house in Vancouver. The winter sky hung below, painted in soft shades of gray and silver. Everything outside looked like a postcard, but inside I felt uneasy. Maybe it was the way Maya's voice trembled on the phone, or maybe it was just my own restlessness returning after so many lonely nights. She greeted me with a warm hug that lasted a little longer than usual. Ison was behind her, smiling, kind, welcoming. His house smelled of rosemary and roasted garlic. Music was playing softly in the background. Everything felt perfect, too perfect. The table was already set with fine china and flickering candles. I felt like an honored guest, though I had no idea why. We started with light conversation. Stories from college, stumbling on hikes, blueberry muffins, Ison's awkward first meeting with his parents. We laughed, but it was the kind of laughter that feels like a prelude to something more. I noticed Ison glancing at Maya, small but meaningful glances. When I refilled my wine glass, I saw Maya's hand tremble slightly. His smile faltered for a second, and then he said, "Is there something we want to talk to you about?" My stomach clenched. I was sick, they were moving. Was something wrong? Ihan's voice was calm. "We know it might sound strange, but we've been thinking about this for a long time. We trust you and believe you're someone incredibly special." I let out a nervous laugh. "Okay. What's going on?" Maya reached out and took my hand. Her grip was warm, reassuring. "It's not easy to explain. We're not asking for anything inappropriate or awkward. We just want you to listen to us." I nodded slowly. My mind was racing. Iten leaned forward. "We want you to be a part of our lives in a deeper, more meaningful way." I blinked. "What does that mean?" Maya's smile faltered. Her voice was gentle. "We'll explain everything, but promise us you'll keep an open mind." That night, I barely slept. Maya's words kept swirling in my mind. "It's part of our lives in a deeper way." It sounded simple, but the weight of that sentence pressed down on me. I didn't know what they were asking for, and that uncertainty gnawed at me. The next morning I called her. "I need clarity," I said. "Come again," she replied gently. "This time we'll explain everything." There was no dinner this time, no music. Just the three of us in her sunlit living room. Maya beside me, Ison across from me. The air between us vibrated with a quiet intensity. Ison began. "Maya and I have tried for years to build the life we imagined. We went through cycles of hope, disappointment, and grief. We can't have children. We tried every option we could bear." Maya continued, her voice steady. "We realized something in that process. Family doesn't have to come from biology. Love doesn't have to fit into categories. We look at all the people in our lives and ask ourselves, who do we trust? Who feels like home?" And your name came up every time. I listened, not knowing where this was going. Ian leaned in again. "We don't want to adopt a child. We want to build something different. A shared life, a chosen family, not romantic, not traditional, but real, honest, lasting." I swallowed. "You're asking me to live with you, to be some kind of third partner?" Maya shook her head gently, not romantically or physically. "We're not looking for anything dramatic. We talked about connection, about trust. You've always loved deeply, even after the pain. We see it in you." They weren't asking for romance, they were offering something else entirely, a place to belong, a life that didn't have to fit into any box. I asked the question that had been weighing on my chest. Why did Maya look at me with shining eyes now? because we almost gave up on the idea that anything outside of the two of us could feel meaningful, but we realized that we were limiting our own happiness by trying to fit into a conventional mold, and you always made us feel more like ourselves. It nodded. This could be something beautiful, a new kind of connection, without expectations, just presence, support, commitment. They weren't trying to convince me, they were just inviting me to something unusual, something real. I didn't say yes right away. I needed time. They understood. They didn't pressure me. Days passed. I walked through the city as if everything were bathed in a new light. I watched the couples in the cafes, the mothers pushing strollers, the groups of friends laughing. Everyone seemed to have their place in the world. And if mine was different, if I didn't fit into the traditional patterns because I was destined to create a new one, I went back to her house a week later. I discovered that Maya had lost her sister at 15 and had been afraid of getting too close ever since. That Ison had grown up in a cold home where affection was scarce and silence reigned. I told them about my breakup, about the years I spent feeling invisible, about the times I cried alone in an empty kitchen, and as we talked, something began to develop between us. It wasn't romanticism, it wasn't obligation, it was something more, something like truth. Ison was ready. Maya took out old photos. I stayed late, later than I had planned. When I left, we didn't say goodbye, just see you soon. In the following months, I began to visit them more often. We shared dinners, walks, silences. We started making plans. Gardening together in the spring, renovating the studio to turn it into a common space, maybe adopting a dog. People didn't always understand. Some friends gave me strange looks when I explained it. You live with a married couple? Isn't that awkward? No, it's more honest than many relationships I've had. I used to reply, because in that house there were no games, no masks, just presence. Support, choice, and one day, completely unplanned, I moved in. My toothbrush appeared in their bathroom. My favorite mug in the kitchen. We began to build a life that had no name, one that required no explanations. I learned that love can take many forms, that intimacy doesn't always imply desire, that a family can be born from the radical act of choosing each other again and again, unconditionally. Now every morning I wake up to the light filtering through the curtains, the aroma of coffee in the air, the soft laughter of someone in the next room. Not every day is perfect, but every day is real. And in this imperfect corner of the world, I've found something I never knew I needed. A home without a name, but with a soul. A life that doesn't fit a label, but feels deeply mine. A love without a script, but written in every gesture, every shared silence, every look that says, I am here and I choose to be.